So today I want to tell you a story. The story of how Brazil won their very first World Cup. If you like football stories, historical facts about football documentary, World Cup, this is the right place for you. So my name is Kwesman. I love sport, I talk sport. I'm a bit biased toward football content. So let's talk. Just like every story, the story does not begin from when it actually started. So to understand or know how Brazil won their first World Cup, that is the 1958 World Cup, we have to move back to the 1950. So it's the 1950 World Cup. 13 teams are invited, and in this 13 teams, they are placed into four groups, and then the winners of this group were going to play a round robin format or a round robin. So what's a round robin? So this round robin is a tournament where, or it's a type of football group where the four teams they play each other, and the one that accumulates the most points qualifies. So after the 13 teams were placed into these four groups, these four teams emerge: Brazil, Uruguay, Spain, and Sweden. And after they play, like every group with four teams, three matches will be played by each group. So after the first two games, Brazil has 4 points, Uruguay has 3 points, second on the table. So Brazil's match with Uruguay was going to determine the winner. Brazil was coming with 4 points, Uruguay was coming with 3 points. So Brazil needed just a draw to qualify, and this match was played in their newly built Maracanazo stadium, a stadium of 200,000 people. So Brazil scores, Uruguay equalizes. So they are like, they will move on with their draw. Then, you know what happens? Uruguay scores again, making it 2-1. The Brazilians find it very hard to equalize again. So they call this the Maracanazo. After Uruguay's goal, the whole stadium is silenced, and Brazil loses the chance to pick up their first World Cup on home soil. So just like any team that wants better things or success, they prepare adequately for the 1954 World Cup, which was going to be played in Switzerland. Mind you, after the World War II, most European countries were now rebuilding, or they were now struggling, or now trying to get their head back into the game. But Switzerland, because they remained neutral in the war, they were because they remained neutral in the war, they were not really affected by the war. And mind you, FIFA's headquarters is in Switzerland at that time. So what other place would they want to play the World Cup to celebrate FIFA's 50th anniversary? The World Cup went back to Sweden. And FIFA came again with another confusing format. So in this format, four groups again, but in each group they had two teams that they would call the seed. So there was the seeding and then the non-seeding. So the seeded teams were going to be the teams that we'll call the top teams, and then the non-seeding teams will be the underdogs. The two top teams will not play each other, and the two underdogs too will not play each other. So instead of 3 games, everyone was going to play just 2 games. Brazil makes it out of this group, and they meet Hungary in the quarterfinals. This match was an intense one, a heated one. So because the Brazilians have not yet faced any top competition, the match results into a fist fight. So it's called the disgrace of Ben. You can look it up. And Brazil crashes out. Hungary knocks them out. The Brazilian team were so much disappointed and so much let down. So they said Jenga, if you know Jenga, they said Jenga that their style of play was to blame. So henceforth, anybody playing Jenga in Brazil, they hate it because they think that's why they've been knocked out. So they're going to approach the 1958 World Cup differently, with a very different approach. They made research, so they made sure that they were prepared medically, mentally, tactically, and then logistically. Let me talk about medically. So they brought a dentist, and it is known that the dentist removed about 100 teeth or 100 set of teeth from the whole squad, noting that additional teeth or faults, or it can make some of the players unstable and then affect their fitness. or they sent scouts to Europe to be able to determine or look at the weather conditions, how the pitches were going to look like, to be able to know how they can or the kind of fabric to use for their jerseys, and then the kind of stats that the players will have for their boots. And then mentally, they psyched the players up. That made them feel superior. So it is known that it is said that after Sweden scored first in the final game, Didi picked up the ball from the net, sent it straight to the center line, and said, "These guys are nothing. We'll beat them." Because in their mind, they were very, very, very much superior. And also, tactically, at that time, the Europeans were playing this VM formation, which the Brazilians found it very hard to understand because they were coming with just their talent and then their ginga. So the Brazilian coach, Vicente Fiola, at that time, thought through, and at the end of the day, he came up with their 4-2-4 formation. This formation had five defenders, two midfielders, and then four attackers. So with these four attackers, the two midfielders were going to join the attackers, and then they were going to be numerous in the opponent's half. That it is known that they confused the opponent so much that they didn't even know who to attack. It worked out for them, and then Brazil, with the aid of Pelé, the the doctor of the team, Dr. João Cavalli said Pelé was infantile. Pelé ended up scoring goals that pushed Brazil from their semi-final into the final, and then he had a very impressive game. What do we learn from this? Brazil in 1958 were so much ahead of all other nations because they approached this World Cup like a scientific operation. And yes, science will always win. So they won it. Talent is not enough. Football now needs to be backed by research with data and then correct analytics, not even just with the money alone. So if you like this story, subscribe to the channel, share to others. Let me know what you think. Or what stories do you want me to run? I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.